The story I'm sharing today happened maybe 5 or 6 months ago, something like that. And it was at a time that I was going through a lot of stuff personally, so personal issues, so there was a lot of pressure, and it's fair to say it wouldn't be much of a story if it didn't happen at a time when I was in an altered state of mind, due to the stress and intoxication, and then the things that happened that preceded that night was just went out of, went off the rails, basically. So I was obviously trying to do these stories a bit earlier on, stand-up wise, but I had to take out a lot of fat, which didn't make the story any genuine as I wanted to be. So maybe we can try it this time here. So this particular weekend, I was going to be playing the Yuck Yucks in Edmonton, a club, and with a comic out there, and I was obviously here in Calgary. So as usual, when I have a show, I post the details on my Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, just to make sure people are up to date, so that I don't run into friends and they're like, tell me when you have a show next time. And it's like when you have 1,500 friends on Facebook, it's really hard to keep them up to date by just texting everybody and telling them, I have a show tomorrow, every day. So it's easier to keep it up on Facebook and Twitter, and that's usually what happens. And one of the things that inevitably always happens is somebody will text me saying, hey, I saw you're having a show. I guess for some reason, some people find that it seems like I do this once in a while. So they feel, oh, hey, I see you are having a show. And then they'll proceed to ask me the details that I posted on my Facebook. Hey, where is it happening? What is the cover charge? And what is the address? And I'm like, it wasn't the status. But I have to be polite, so I usually just send the details anyways. So several minutes into my drive to Edmonton, I get a text message from a couple friend of mine. So a couple, how do I put even that? It's a couple, and they're both my friends. And so at the time, the dude and the girl was working in Calgary, and the dude was working in Edmonton. So they were always back and forth, Calgary, Edmonton, at different times. So yeah, and the girl had just returned from a visit in Kenya, visiting people out there, and she had a new number for whatever reason. She had changed her phone number, and I did not know that she had a phone number. And so that's an important detail for later. So whenever these guys are in town, I communicate with them. I don't know if this is a couple thing or it's a thing that they just do as it's only special to them. That when I'm talking to one of the numbers, if they're hanging out together, I don't know exactly who I'm talking to. If it's the girl or the boy, I never know. I guess I can always tell by making a rude comment. If I get reprimanded, it's a girl, and if I get a haha, that's funny, dude, it's a dude. I'll make a front joke or something. That's how you tell. In case you needed anything to use it for later. So this particular incident, I received the text message from the dude's number, and he was inquiring about the address of the venue of the show and how to get tickets. All this information is available online, and it was on my Facebook status. But like I said, I'm used to it, so it didn't matter. And I responded to it with the next available opportunity because I was driving. However, I forgot to include the city at the end of the address, so I just gave out the address 1313 Ford Road, whatever it is, address in Edmonton, but I didn't include Edmonton. After the comma, I didn't put any city after the comma. So, and then I was like, yeah, no big deal, and I drove, and I got to Edmonton, went straight to my room, had a shower, and I had a nap, even though I didn't plan it earlier to that, and then I set an alarm for 7:30 and 7:32, 7:33, and an emergency one for 7:45. And as soon my alarm, and sure enough, actually, my alarm went off at 7:31, 7:32, 7:33, and I snoozed them, all of them, successfully. I neutralized that threat and frantically woke up at 7:45. That's what happened. And, I quickly changed it into my ritualistically and superstitiously prepared outfit. for the night. That's what I do. I don't know. I'm not even superstitious in real life, but when I'm going to a show, somehow I have to wear some clothes. Like there's some clothes that I have to initiate. Like if I buy a new outfit, I don't perform on it on a sensitive show. No, I do it and I open mic, and then I decide this has been qualified to do another show anywhere else. So yeah, and then I briskly walked downstairs because it was almost showtime, right? And didn't have enough time to, buy time or order food. So I just went to the green room and said hi to the other comics, and as far as I can recall, I don't remember getting any alerts on my phone. But again, it was crunch time. It was almost showtime, so I had to get going. So I just watched them. I put my phone on. That's another ritual. I have to put my phone on airplane mode before I perform. I guess it's not. It's more functional. It's more of a functional superstition at that point. It's not even superstitious. I guess it's technology, right? Like, if you have your phone on airplane mode, you will not get interrupted. It is just. It's not a fingers crossed thing. It's a thing they designed. So I put it on airplane mode, and then I watch the MC, and then I try and watch the audience. I try and peep through. Just casing the joint. How it works. And then while I was still pacing back and forth, I debated if I was thirsty or if I needed a brew, and then inevitably I usually convince myself that it's been a while since I had my last beer, so I went for a Corona. So I got myself a Corona, because I'm a goddamn adult and I do what I want. Yeah, but I forgot that I hadn't eaten anything for the last at least 3 or 4 hours, right? Plus the stress. So I got my drink and then I went into the show. It was time to be introduced onto the show. I did my thing. 2 minutes in, I knew the audience was great. It was better than most audiences I've had in Edmonton. So, did my show, and my time passed and then I finished my set and I got out, got another drink, and that's when I started realizing that I might have been hungry. I was feeling a little dizzy, feeling a little strange, so I ordered some food, and I decided I wasn't going to watch the guy that was going up next. And I just ate, finished my food, and went back into the showroom and watched the remainder of the show. As soon as the show was over, I went to the bar to wait for the late show while I pretended to enjoy whatever sports was on TV, because I really don't care much for sports unless there's emotional attachment to it. Yeah, that's why I enjoy watching marathons. I'm very emotionally connected to cross country, and watching the Lethbridge Hurricanes. That's a hockey team. That's what I realized about sports. You have to be emotionally attached to it because there's really nothing much to a ball going from one end to the other and guys running around. It has to have emotional attachment because I've enjoyed watching. In fact, I even got glued to a game because I started getting invested in one team. I'm going to watch Edmonton and I'm going to cheer for Edmonton. That's how I started enjoying the game that was going on. I don't remember if it was basketball or hockey. Yeah, so as I was waiting for the second show, I started, I decided to play with my phone as usual, and opened up, an app for a game of war. There's a game that I have that they try and make me spend money, but I use my brains and I don't spend money, and I just invest time in it. So I was paying my dues. So I went into the game. I tried to train a few troops, and I realized that I didn't have internet connection. So I forgot to turn it back from the airplane mode. So I turned it back on. Played the game, went to Facebook, did a little bit of liking here and there. Shortly after that, I get a message from a phone number I had never seen before. I didn't recognize the phone number. I usually, when I get a new phone number, sometimes I try and stick with it. I don't put a name to it till I can recognize the numbers. So I tried to recognize, and I couldn't recognize it. I was like, I don't know this number. And I wasn't so sure what to think at that point. In fact, I dismissed it as one of those wrong numbers and immediately carried on watching my game. And and then a minute or two later, I don't know how many minutes it takes with my phone, but you get a reminder buzz if you didn't respond to a message. And so I decided, oh, let me check the message, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely a wrong number, because the message said, hey, you screwed up our night, what's up? You know? And I was like, yeah, it's a wrong number. And then, I don't know whose number is this, you know, and then it hit me, and I was like, I could mess with them. You know, like, I could mess with this wrong number. Let's get having fun. So I started having fun. I don't remember exactly what I said, but that is when my nightmare kind of officially started. You know, when I made fun of I was like, hey, wrong number, whatever. I said a few things here and there, not important. But what is important is the fact that as soon as I played a little bit, I got tired and I was like, yeah, let me go back to doing my own thing. But then they realized that I didn't have the number. And they went into game mode. Like, now she knew she hadn't given me the number. So they decided to prank me back. And I wasn't prepared for this at all. I wasn't prepared. You know, I get a message again. It's like, why are you acting like you don't know me? That's what she texted. And I was like, sorry, I'm actually just messing with you. You have a wrong number. That's what I said, just to dismiss him. Yeah, get up. Yeah, I like my peace and quiet, right? So I don't like a joke running too long. So I was just like, yeah, get it over with. And then she responded again, oh, so you're going to be just like that? Even after you sleep with me, this is how you choose to do away with me? Now, here's the thing. I get so few lays. I knew it couldn't possibly be me. But compound this with a whole lot of a feeling. I've been stressed out, and on top of that, there's a joke that I had been working on that got really intense. I was working on a joke about, like, how do we know that we are real? Like, how do we know everything is real the way it is? Like, you feel strange, and you're like, how do we know we're not even made of lasers? You know what I mean? Like, how do we know that we are who we are? You know what I mean? What is reality? What is real and what is not? Like, I'd been working on that joke, and I got into it, and then it was just one of those jokes in the back burners, and now it's hitting me full. Now I'm drunk, a little hungry, and I'm stressed out, and I'm getting somebody telling me, you know, you slept with me. I'm like, what if I'm even drunk right now, out of my mind? What if I'm intoxicated? I've been intoxicated for the last few weeks that I don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was just strange. I had this strange feeling that I'm not, it was like I'm out of my skin, and I'm just, you know, I was just like, what if I haven't been conscious, I'm just getting my conscious. Do you understand what I'm trying to get? It's like I'm in another deep dimension in this thing. So I'm like, oh, what? What the hell is going on here? Here's the thing, you know what I mean? I was really confused. I was mumbling around. And then I asked, okay, who is this? You know what I mean? I really started losing a great deal of confidence in my memory. Like, because I don't know what's real anymore. You know, at that time, when you get a lot of stress, you start getting also hypochondriac. Is that what you think? You start diagnosing yourself for things. Like, I was like, what if I have this? What if I have this? What if I am senile? I don't know what's going on. And I was like, who is this? And she's like, it's Tracy. I'm trying to jog my memory. I don't know any Tracy. I mean, I might have met some Tracys in my life, but I don't know any Tracy, let alone have I ever slept with a Tracy. I've never slept with a Tracy, and I'm not taking credit for a Tracy who's been slept with. You know what I mean? I don't like... And don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? If there was a Tracy, I would totally do it. But I'm just saying at this point, I haven't. And there is no way I should be taking credit for anything that Tracy has to say. Like, I don't have to put up with any flaws that Tracy has in her life if I'm not getting any conjugal attention from Tracy. So I was like, yeah, when did we meet? Where did we meet? And more importantly, how did I convince you? Yeah, you know, and then I got a message, you know, one of those, seriously? And, you know, I'm like, I bet she rolled her eyes when she said that. And then, yeah, and I was like, yeah, seriously, I don't know who you are. You know, like, I am serious. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to play a game. And I was like, you know, and she's just, a lot of back and forth, and I was like, okay, we have both established that you got screwed, but by whom? So, so I was already shaken, but I was like, let's try another approach. So I was like, who am I? Like, do you know whom you're talking to? You know what I mean? If you have a wrong number and you're messing with somebody, the moment of truth is when they ask you who they are, and then you're like, all right, I'm just messing with you. And she was like, Doug, the comedian guy? Now I was really sweating. Like I started walking around the casino because the showroom in Edmonton is also adjacent to the casino. So I'm walking through the casino, and you know when, like, I think the people that have in the movies have nailed it when they have sound effects for such moments. You know, like it's almost like an epiphany. I could only hear like occasional the ding, ding from the VLT machines and whatnot. Like some things were just going through my head. Like, I was noticing details I've never noticed with people. That people in the casino rarely ever keep eye contact with anybody. They just walk through. That was the things I was just looking at. I was just walking to the bar again, and and the only logical conclusion I came up with was that somebody was out there masquerading as Doug Mutai. Now, the only thing worse than not getting laid is somebody getting laid in your name. That is the worst thing. I don't even know. Like, I presume that's how identity theft works. That is the terror that the identity theft victims have to go through. You know what I mean? I knew if I had an influence in my life, if I were famous, this would be my charity of choice. To just create a charity to create awareness about identity theft and helping identity theft victims. You know what I mean? A lot of things started making sense. Why celebrities have their Twitter handles as the real or the official page of Russell Peters, because somebody else already stole their names. Now I was dealing with the consequences of being famous without actually being famous. That is painful. So by now you've obviously realized that every reaction of mine was bigger than the last. Like I was just kept going like, holy fuck, what is going on? So I decided, I'm just going to try and get reasonable with Tracy and be like, listen, Tracy, I think you are the wrong guy for real. But if you really think I'm that person, let's figure out where this went wrong. Where did we meet? Maybe we can fix this, you know what I mean? And maybe I can show you I am not the person that you think you're sleeping with. You know what I mean? Like I can make it to you. And I didn't get any response, and I tried again. And then I decided to call and be like, listen, what is going on? Who is this? Because I got so gullible. Like I was talking to the comedian that was with me, and he was like, it's probably just a comic messing with you. And I started to think, who would be messing with me? Nobody in my friends, none of my friends are that playful, like they would not take it too long. They would curtail it when the right time comes. So I was like, no. So I was like, let me just call and clean this up, and then even my voice would give it away, and then it would be a totally different thing. So I called the phone number, and the other person on the other end responds and is like, do not ever call this number again. Right? Listen, you comedian guy, if you call this number again, I'm giving you to the police, and you're getting in trouble. And I don't like to take my chances with the police. Nothing to do with anything. I just don't want to get in any book, like anything close to dealing with anything. You know what I mean? Like, let's just get it over with. I don't want any trouble. Let's just get it. So I was like, you know what? Okay, whatever you say. I'm just out of this. In fact, I'm gonna save this message in case I need evidence to show that I'm innocent. And I saved everything, and then I saved the number as harassment. Because I was harassed, all right? And then I went to bed just stressing out, I even started thinking, what if Tracy is pregnant? And I got all these things going through my head, you know what I mean? And I'm not scared of a pregnant person if I was. You know what I mean? I already have a kid. I'm not scared of kids. If anything, I'm scared of recently pregnant people. Like that is just a lot of power in your hands. You just gave life, and you're just gonna, you know what I mean? Like how, and now I'm thinking this person is pregnant by another person, and I am gonna have to deal with, like, what is going on? I'm gonna have to deal with somebody else mess, you know? Like it's a lot. It's irrational by all means. But I am intoxicated. I'm a little bit messed up. I wasn't in the right footing at all. So I went to bed thinking through all this, woke up still stressed out, and I'm just like, and you know, I'm talking to the other comedian in breakfast, which was at like 2 p.m. And he's like, no, dude, it's not a big deal. Just relax. It's not, somebody's messing with you, man. You can't make sense. I was like, okay, yes, I'll take your word for it. And then a few minutes later, I get a phone call from the number that I saved as harassment. And I pick it up, and he's like, on the other hand, she was like, hey, when are you back in Calgary? I'm like, tomorrow, you know, because I'm a reasonable guy. I'm like, oh, let's clean this out, you know what I mean? Maybe we can reason something else. Like, you want to go for coffee, is what she said. You want to go do something tomorrow? I was like, sure. I mean, you know, let's figure this out. Maybe I could change your mind, and maybe I could even make Tracy decide, you know what, I'll just let you have it. You know, damages, you know what I mean? Let's just get you laid just for all the trouble we've gone through, you know what I mean? Like, so I was like, let's figure this out and clean this mess up. And then just as I realized that, I recognized the voice on the other side is when she realized that she did not clean up the mess. Like, the best part of a prank is when you tell somebody, hey, it's just a prank, I'm just joking, hey. They forgot to tell me that. So I've been agonizing for a full day with all these things that I've compounded in my brain. And I was like, yeah, how do you know what I mean? Like, that was just, you had me do a lot of responsible things. Like, I was Googling how to get a paternity test and average wait times, you know what I mean? Yeah, that was the story, and it was really messy, but that is why it ended. That's the end of the story.